Hi, everybody. I am Holly Celiano. Today is Friday, April 25th. There is so much news happening every week, every day. It's really hard to keep up with, and it's hard for me to decide what it is I feel is so important and relevant to see the progress being made. So, as we all heard, that the Pope died this week on the 21st, the day after Easter, and there is information that was pretty big around this. I'm sure you guys have seen it. Let me pull that up and share with you. Let's see here. And this is what I wanted to read. So, with the Pope's death, it really is a marker and is quite interesting. He died the day after Easter. So, if Donald Trump is the exchequer of the Vatican Bank, that would make him the Holy See while the seat is vacant. And what is an exchequer? It is an individual in government who is in charge of the money. Remember, Trump did his 2025 capitulation tour. So he went around to the world and they all capitulated to him. The Bank of London, Vatican Bank, and the Federal Reserve all capitulated to Trump, and he became the exchequer. The Vatican Bank, it was founded in 1942. It handles the church's wealth and global financial arms. Whoever controls the bank holds practically leverage over cardinals, dioceses, and international reach. The Holy See is the jurisdiction of the Pope and encompasses the church central governance. During sede, vacant seat, the Carmelian administers the Vatican's temporal goods, but has no authority or doctrine over the church's direction. But canon law presumes no foreign power controls the Vatican Bank. If a non cardinal like Trump sees power through legal, military, or economic means, canon law is nullified in practice. If Trump holds the exchequer powers, he may be the de facto override the current Carmelian, who happens to be an American, Kevin Farrell, in managing assets, effectively controlling the body while the soul, papacy, is absent. He who controls the gold has the power. So I'm not going to finish reading this, but there is a video that I do want to play. It's pretty, let's see this one. Here we go. It's was done by Charlie Freak, and he did that whole video on the capitulation tour. So let me play this.
Now, what did the Vatican have to do to sign up? You see, the Fed is controlled by a certain group within the Catholic Church who went forth and spread the teachings of Christianity. The Jesuits.
When is a central bank not a central bank? When is a private bank public and a public bank private? Sound mysterious and full of secrets? Well, that's the Vatican Bank. It's in 1929, they hit a deal with Mussolini, the head of the fascist state. He recognized them as a real country, that little piece of land, and in return gave them about $1 billion in a day's money, compensating them for the loss of the Papal States. They said, what do we do with $1 billion? We're clerics, not financiers. They hired a guy who was a brilliant financial whiz, Bernardino Nogaro. He came in, he understood arbitrage, he understood offshore banking, he understood how to move hard assets around, investments in real estate, and he started to do that. In the middle of World War II, he said to the Pope, I need a bank. It's not enough to have correspondent banks. We need to move our money off the radar so the British and Americans can't follow what we're doing, because they were playing both sides. The Americans and Brits they were investing in, and the Germans and Italians. They didn't know who would win. They wanted to make sure they were covered. And that's the birth of the Vatican Bank. They go from an institution that can't embrace capitalism to one that suddenly has its own bank in the middle of the war.
They were in control of the Fed. So Trump did not leave until Pope Francis issued a papal bull announcing that by a certain date, the Vatican Bank, which was in charge of all, was the head executor the exchequer of all of the earth-wide Federal Reserve banking systems in each country would be handed over to one Donald J. Trump. Donald J. Trump is not, Mark, just the executor, the exchequer of the US Treasury and therefore the Fed within the United States. He is the exchequer for Earth. He is the exchequer for the treasuries for every single country on Earth. That's what I told you earlier. No human being in history has ever been more powerful, owned more things, or richer than Donald Trump.
And we are working on that as we speak. We have conversations with various representatives of China. I believe that will all work out very well for everybody. China, Japan, the United States, and everybody in the region. As far as the currency devaluations, I've been complaining about that for a long time. And I believe that we will all eventually, and probably very much sooner than a lot of people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field. Because that's the only way it's fair. That's the only way that you can fairly compete in trade and other things. And we will be on that field, and we will all be working very hard to do great for our country. But it has to be fair, and we will make it fair.
Since the establishment of the Rothschild banking empire that runs the world today, many have tried, many countries, many presidents, many leaders, many individuals, many corporations have tried to topple and escape the Rothschild banking empire slavery system, because that's what it is. The problem we face is that most of us suffer from cognitive dissonance, and that cognitive dissonance prevents us from believing or digesting information that we get about the origins of money, how it's made, how it's controlled, who creates it, and how it runs the world. And the Rothschild banking empire, how they've woven the spell into the education system. It's just such a beautiful and easy thing to realize why they could succeed. JFK started to print the United States notes. He did pretty much very much the same to what Donald Trump did, except he didn't have the support. He was all alone. Can you imagine how JFK must have felt when he started to print the United States notes? He couldn't talk to the media. He couldn't get his message out to the people because the media is controlled by the people that run the Fed. He's just stolen the Fed from the banking families that own the media and all the propaganda of the world. There's no way he could share his knowledge and information with the people. So very quickly, they just took him out, and the Fed took back the money, control of the money, and everything went back to normal. But JFK came very, very close. But the time wasn't right. The international media, the network that we have today, the social media, the internet, is a far more conducive environment for any leader of a country to be able to do such a thing. Because the moment you do it, the entire global propaganda machine through the mainstream media will come down on you like an unimaginable pack of terriers, and they will rip you apart. And that's pretty much what's happening in the USA right now.
Over and see the fake news. Let's go. What do you have, John? Journalists that we have in our media did a disservice to themselves, actually more than they did to this country. They did a disservice to themselves because they displayed an arrogance that is unprecedented.
We have to just go around them. We just have to go around them, and we have gone around them like nobody in history has ever gone around them.
So let's come back to Donald Trump and what he did. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States right now, was the first individual that managed to outsmart the bankers. He did it quietly, stealthily, and without any fanfare or global news or reporting on it. He took over and basically nationalized the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States.
Now I'm going to sign this, and it's a great honor. $6.2 trillion. I've never signed anything with a T on it. I don't know if I can handle this one, Mitch. We can't chicken out at this point, can we? I don't think so, huh? All right, thank you all.
So Donald Trump simply brought the Federal Reserve Bank into the Treasury Department, and nobody realized what was happening.
But I wanted that to be a message.
The CARES bill. This wasn't hatched a month ago. It was hatched 14 months ago. This has been in the plan.
We're going to have a tremendous rebound at the end of the year, toward the end of the year. I think we're going to have a rebound like we have never seen before. Even now, it wants to rebound. You can see it, feel it.
Then he did the next most incredible move, and he appointed as his 2IC, the guy to look after the Fed, now under the umbrella of the United States Treasury Department, that one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful and influential person in the world, by the name of Larry Fink. Larry Fink runs a company called BlackRock.
When you think about all the people who send money, they may work in one country, send money back home. They generally do that through organizations that charge 5 to 10%. There is a need, whether it's a Libra or something else, to democratize the exchange of foreign currencies. Today, with computers and electronic market,
there shouldn't be that.
It should be 10 basis points, 5 basis points. It's not sense. Percent. And so I actually believe the idea around Libra, I don't think we need to create a new currency, but the technology to instantaneous calibrate all the currencies, that should be done.
The Fed making history today, and the first time ever began buying corporate debt ETFs, the unprecedented move driving an explosion in the corporate debt market.
The Fed is now the bad bank. That's a good term. It's an accurate term. He said you're going to be seeing numerous different national central banks becoming the bad bank. They're becoming nationalized, they're broken, and they're going to be declared the bad bank. They're going to be loaded up with impaired assets. You got that right.
If you nationalize a market, you take it over like that, you shove out all the private sector players, all the brokers and the dealers go away, and you have no more liquidity, and it becomes a permanent fixture of the central bank or the government itself. And that's a dangerous place to be in the long term.
Is it the Exchange Stabilization Fund and many the ministries of finance, like in France and Italy and Germany, they're taking control. They're filling up their central banks with the bad bank impaired assets, but they're also supporting the stock markets.
Okay, so are you talking about this is a coordinated effort to load up the central banks and maybe destroy the Rothschild system?
Yes, to dump it on the Rothschilds' backyard.
That was a brilliant video. That tells you exactly where we are, what's happening. It is a very systematic, slow-paced destruction of the old financial institution. And it's being played so seamlessly that people cannot even see what's going on. So that really is spelling out step by step what has been taking place since Trump did his capitulation tour, and the death of the Pope now puts the Vatican Bank in his hands. So the other thing that was pretty big that came out, here is this. I want to play this. This came out last week, and a lot of people might have missed this. Let me just play this here.
Community is funny. Everyone went crazy for the one stable coin on the XRP ledger, and that would be the RLUSD. But this month, just about a week and a half ago, 6 new stable coins have come onto the XRP ledger. You can see that it was confirmed by Zaga themselves that they only use the XRPL, and hardly anybody noticed. Well, I can tell you, it's big news. They're all backed by major currencies, and This company is making some huge moves globally when it comes to stablecoins. I had them on the channel back in July.
So I'm going to stop there and I want to read to you. So let me pull this up. Enter MiCA. What is MiCA? Markets and Crypto Assets Regulations. Europe's big plan for crypto regulation. The European Union's answer is MiCA. This comprehensive set of rules adopted in June 2023 aims to create a clear and consistent legal framework for various crypto assets and services across all EU member states. It's one of the first major attempts globally to regulate the crypto industry on such a large scale. MiCA covers everything from Bitcoin trading platforms to new crypto token offerings, but it pays special attention to stablecoins because of their potential link to the traditional financial system and their widespread use. The specific rules for stablecoin started coming in effect on June 30th, 2024, with the full regulation applying from December 30th, 2024. The main goals of MiCA regarding stablecoins are protect consumers, ensure financial stability, promote market integrity, foster innovation. And what does MiCA demand from stablecoin users? It divides stablecoins into two main categories. EMTs, they are pegged to a single official currency like the euro or the US dollar. And asset referred tokens, ARTs, these are pegged to a basket of assets, which could include multiple currencies, commodities like gold or other crypto assets. So I'm not going to read any more of that. There is another post I want to pull up. So this is from 589 Bull. Iraq confirms full FX readiness, then drops the deficit card. This is the setup for the switch. The pattern is too precise to ignore. A wave of signal floods out of Iraq. 1.67 billion infrastructure blitz launched in, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. The CBI confirms reserves can fully back the dinar. MasterCard freezes all Iraq issued card transactions, domestic plus international. The WTO workshops accelerates Iraq's ascension timeline, and virtual banking and SAMA trading rails go active. It looks like a country on the verge of a full financial integration. Then suddenly, boom, Iraq PM admits the real deficit in federal budget. At first glance, it feels like a contradiction. In reality, it's the final setup move before a currency reset. Here's what they're doing. They've already built the digital banking rails. They've secured the reserves. They've cleaned up smuggling pipelines, and they aligned with global trade partners. Now the drop in the bucket, deficit admission, not as a weakness, but as a public trigger to justify what comes next. Everything is in place, but the budget can't hold this rate. This is how you prepare a nation and its allies for revaluation shockwave. Flood the news with readiness, show the investment momentum, then reveal the deficit pressure that forces the rate correction. It's not chaos, it's choreography. The deficit isn't the problem, it's the excuse, and the rate is the solution. So I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. So those are really some of the biggest news that came out last week. And as you can see, it's all puzzle pieces being put together for the bigger picture, which is a global reset, leveling the playing field, making everybody have a balance. Because right now, other countries are not in balance. It's been extremely unbalanced. So we're seeing in real time this rolled out and played out. And the Pope dying was a huge puzzle piece in this. So we can just sit back and watch what happens. I do believe we are in the end times because the pressure is being put on. Trump, as you know, has announced that he wants to have a celebration starting Memorial Day of this year, running through July 4th of next year. So we need to have this done. We need the currency exchange. We need this to happen. So I believe we are in the end days. Again, I don't like to give a date. And I apologize if these go too long. People have complained online about these are too long. I'm just trying to educate you guys on where we are with real current news, not just hopium, not just, it's happening, this is it, bond people. This is really the meat and potatoes of what's going on. This is the core. This shows you the timeline of where we are and what's happening. So we'll see what happens with the upcoming week. Have a great weekend, everybody. And again, if something happens, I will let you know. Again, be wary of all those scammers out there. Don't fall for any of their stuff that they're trying to do. And have a great weekend. Take care, everybody.